Hey everyone, it's Angela Allen. Welcome back to the Handmade Homestead. Well, today it is gray and dark, but it's not too windy or too cold, and I'm going to head outside and start doing some of the pruning on my fruit trees. We have 5 fruit trees in our backyard, and right now they're about 8 or 9 feet tall, and I really try to keep them below 6 feet. When I planted them originally, I planted them very close together with the idea of growing sort of an English style hedgerow of fruit trees. Not quite as small as the little step over hedges, but I wanted the fruit trees to kind of form a wall on one side of my garden, at least in their canopy, one for privacy from our neighbors, and 2, so they didn't take up quite as much room. Being a small family means we really don't need a ton of fruit off of each tree. And so we try to keep them small enough to get enough fruit for fresh eating and then enough fruit for some preservation, some canning, dehydrating, that kind of thing, some freezing. But we don't want a commercial sized crop of fruit off of these fruit trees. So let's go out and take a look at them. And it's really not cold enough yet for pruning, but once it gets super cold in February, it's really hard to get out there. Here in New England, it does get very cold. So I want to get started and get at least one of them pruned today. So I'm going to take you along, grab a cup of tea, keep warm, let's go. I'm hoping you can hear that. There's a whole bunch of geese coming. If you look right there in the sky, coming this way, about to go overhead. Let's just take a listen. Well, that, my friends, is definitely fall and winter in Rhode Island. We have huge flocks of Canadian geese that come obviously from Canada, migrate here, but we also have great big native flocks here now on the island that are here year round. And every year when I start hearing that sound, I know really cold winter is about to start. Isn't that the most amazing thing? We get to hear that every winter as the geese are coming and joining the flocks that are already here, and we get to hear it all season long, off and on, all day, every single day, until springtime when they all start going back in the direction of Canada. And of course the flocks that are here stay here, but we still get to hear it for weeks into every springtime too. It's one of my favorite things about living here on Aquidneck Island. We get to hear that geese sound, that overhead pass of geese all the time, and it's very cool, and it really is that loud. I want you to know it's almost deafening. Doesn't go on at nighttime. It does go on after dark sometimes, but it usually doesn't go on at nighttime, but all day long. The other thing you hear right now is there are chickens running around me in the yard, and when I come outside, they think I'm the treat lady. So I feel kind of like Snow White because they all run up to my feet, and you hear a lot of noise from them too. So let's get on with the apple tree pruning. We'll start with one of the apple trees, but let's go into the garden, take a look at what the garden looks like and the trees look like now. I'm outside the side gate of my garden, and as you can see, it looks pretty desolate in there. Let's kind of pan to the left, and you can see there's the big gate and my compost piles, and there's really nothing planted there, my little gardening shed. We're going to go this way, my side trellis, and then straight back there where that chair sits, there's another arch trellis too. And then going this way, There's another big arch trellis. You can't see it behind the roses in the middle of the garden. That's actually the front of my garden. And there's beds all back there on the other side of the roadway. I have a little cement pad there. I am thinking that might be a great place for a little greenhouse. Let's go over there and take a look. Now this is the very front part of my garden. There's an arch trellis right there. This is my asparagus bed. And then there is two great big gates right there. And those gates are made really big on purpose. It's possible to back a truck up in there, even a big truck. There are two gates. I think that's 16 feet across, those two gates altogether. But I'm thinking that that little cement area right there, just half of it on that side, might be a good place to put a little tiny greenhouse. I'm not sure, maybe. I don't want to block the gate. My husband drives in and out through there in the warmer months to mow the lawn in the front with a riding mower. So I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just thinking maybe that's a possibility. Let me know down in the comments if you think that's a good place for a little greenhouse, and definitely leave me a link or some information if you have a suggestion on a good greenhouse that might be a good choice. Here's another angle of the front of the garden, and I'm doing that so you can see that this row right here, going all the way down, those are my fruit trees. And you can see they're taller than I'd like. I do want to bring them right back lower, just about to where the leaves aren't. So right about there. Maybe 5 feet tall would be a good height. I'm 5 feet tall. I want to keep them very small. The peach trees were extremely prolific this year. I'll try to insert a picture right here so you can see. So I'm thinking we may not have fruit from them next year because they put out so much fruit this year. I mean, a couple of bushels between those two little trees. I do have a cough drop in my mouth, so I apologize for all the swallowing, but no cough drop, no voice, so you're stuck with it. But this is how the tree line goes. So this very first tree right here, that is a pear tree. It actually is supposed to have 4 kinds of pears on it. It only produced just a couple of pears this year, and that was the first time it's produced anything. The next tree is a Red Haven peach. That is my favorite peach tree, my favorite fruit tree. It's the big tall one. It's been pruned back 4 times since last winter, so 5 times in the last year. If I work on it today, that will be 6 times. It's really, really a grower. Right next to it is an Alberta peach. That's a tree that I bought. It died. I had to replace it. The replacement still never got a good canopy going on it, so I'm working on that one, but it'll probably never be the best of the best. And then the next 2 going down, those are apple trees. This one is a Spartan and a Macintosh. The very first one is a Macintosh and a Cortland. I know you can probably tell from that how much we like Macintosh apples. Both of those trees have canker. They got them within the first year of me planting them. They're maybe 5 or 6 years old now. They do produce, and they produce pretty well. But I don't expect them to live very long. I do take good care of them. In the meantime, when they die, we'll replace them. Who knows when that will be. In the meantime, we just take care of them. And I do cut off some of the canker spots when I can. But one of the major areas is at the base of the first tree, and I'll show you that when we get there. Let's go down and let's prune that tree. At least get that tree done for today. The only thing currently living in this garden are those green onions right down there. And those I leave in on purpose. The cold is absolutely going to freeze them, and they will die back. But they will come back next year and flower. We will use the flower and we will use the seeds to plant yet another bunch of them for the following year. And they will produce all the onions that we need for green onions for the next growing season too. So I always have 2 batches in the ground. One we're currently eating, some we started for the following year. And I let each batch go for 2 years. Greens the first year, green onions the first year, the second year, flowers and seeds, and harvesting bunches of onions, and then those get pulled out. And I always have a 1-year-old set in the garden, and every growing season I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old set ready to go. These are just the 2 apple trees right here. Apple tree 1 and apple tree 2. And you can see they're dropping their leaves, but the leaves haven't all completely come off. It's really not the best time to prune them. But I'm thinking of getting it done for at least one of these trees just to give myself a head start. So I might as well just get going. It's been freezing enough at night, down in the low 30s, upper 20s. It's that time of year, and we are at almost the end of November, so we're going to do a little. Something that I did last year actually seemed to work. Of course, it has more canker in more areas on the tree now, probably from before that, but something that I did seem to make a big difference. So I'm going to show you that, and you can make your own determination about whether you think it's worth trying it. It's something that I am definitely going to do to this tree this year, maybe even today or tomorrow. But let me show you closer so you can see what I mean. So this is canker. It's a fungal infection that affects the tree, and it starts going deeper and deeper and girdling the bark. And once it girdles it all around, that part of the tree will die. And you can see some of this looks really bad. Started right there. And I did scrape away the extra loose bark. I painted it down with fungicide, and it's done really well since then. That specific spot has not gotten worse. I don't know if it'll buy me any time with this tree. I don't know if I should just cut it down. Its sister apple tree over there looks like it's got canker going too. It's not affecting any of the other trees. It's just these two trees. And to be honest, I think they came that way. They started like this within, I don't know, a few months or so, the first season that I got them from the original company I purchased them from. But while they're living and they are producing fruit, I'm just going to let them keep going. But I think I need to get a chainsaw and cut off some of those limbs right there, scrape off that trunk, and see if it'll give me another year of fruit. I don't know, but we'll see. But for right now, I'm going to start by cutting this tree way back. We'll see what we want to do from there. I'm not emotionally attached to the tree. I just want trees that produce fruit, and I don't waste a lot of time on plants that aren't going to be surviving and healthy. But in this case, it does produce fruit, so I'm just buying time with it. All right, let's get pruning. Well, I just ran in to get my handheld chainsaw to work on that first tree because I need to take off some big limbs, but it's out of juice. I had to charge both batteries, so I'm going to have to let that first tree, the first apple tree, wait. I'm going to prune the second one. This is really just pruning. I don't have to remove any big limbs. So I'm going to get that one done. So at least I'll have gotten one of the 5 done today, and that will feel really good at the end of the day. So let's go. I'm just going to cut it down to height, and I'm going to cut off any diseased branches, any branches that are kind of going towards the inside of the tree instead of outside. I might trim some of the outside length, but I'm not looking to do anything gigantic here. I'm just looking to bring the tree down to size. So just so you all know, I'm no arborist. I'm just a home hobby fruit grower and gardener. I do know the basics of pruning. I do know enough to trim close to an outward facing bud and that kind of thing. But I'm really looking to just bring the canopy down, lighten up the tree, and get off some of these extra long water sprouts and that kind of thing. I want a compact tree that's a little bit more open, but not too open because I don't want it taking up my whole walkway space here. And I want to remove any diseased branches or any inward growing branches. So that's what I'm aiming for. And I am aiming for a tree that's about my height, and I'm only 5'2". So yeah, let's go. I'm definitely not trying to save the tree. It's not going to save the tree. But if I can prolong it for another year or two, then that's another year or two I get fruit off of it before I have to start over with another tree. So this is the least effective tree. So I'm doing that first. That way I don't have to clean my equipment before I go to the other tree. But it's worth prolonging the life of the tree because, like I said, it is productive. I get great big, beautiful, really tart, sweet, delicious apples off of it, even for such a small tree. These are maybe 6 years old, maybe 7. I bought them originally as 6-foot trees, and the trunks are quite big around. As long as they're producing fruit, I'm going to support them to live as long as I can. When it's time to replace them, I'll replace them. Alright, so that is 2 of the 5 trees almost all set for the winter. There's just one more step for these apple trees, but I need to wait a day or 2 to take care of that. So I have pruned them back to the height that I want. I've taken off all of the disease parts, and I have scraped down and painted over all of the areas of canker with copper fungicide. And I know it looks pretty messy, but that's fine. That will dry for the next couple of days, provided we don't get any rain in the next couple of days. Then I will come out and I will paint white on the trunks to prevent them from getting sunburned over the winter time and protect them from the wind a little bit. Well, thank you for joining me today here at the Handmade Homestead and Garden while we pruned and treated and took care of one of my very, very sick apple trees, trying to prolong its life and its productivity for a few more years. If you find this content helpful or enjoyable in any way, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Questions or comments, just put them down below. I answer all of them. I do read all of your comments, and I do enjoy talking back and forth with you. It's been a lot of fun. I've met a lot of really great people here, and I'm so happy to be part of it, and I am happy to share time with all of you. So I will see you next time. Take care.